Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Green Life Garden and Home DIY channel. So today I have pulled out my dehydrator, and the reason I pulled out my dehydrator is because it is a little bit more fruits and vegetables than we can eat right now. And I'm also going to be doing some canning, but for the most part I wanted to focus on dehydrating. A lot of people are running around scurrying, trying to find pressure canners and mason jars and lids and all this other drama. And all of that is well and good. I can myself. But listen, if you can't find any of that, this actually is a better way of going, even better to me than trying to can something, because canning, is you have a lot of bulk, you have a lot of weight that you're trying to handle, and God forbid a good shaking of the earth and you stand to lose everything. So just want to encourage you to pull those dehydrators out. I've had mine put away for quite some time. This one has done okay for me. I know there are others like the Excalibur that is built different as far as not having this little centerpiece here and the air blowing from the bottom versus it coming from the back, and you're able to slide in trays, just one flat tray without that in the center, because that can sometimes be a con for this particular brand and model. But for the most part, it works for me. I am not advertising or sponsoring this company in any way. This is just a dehydrator that I've had for some years that I have not put to work like I wished I had a long time ago. So I'm going to go ahead today and start dehydrating some of this. And what I'm going to start with is my grapefruit here. And I'm going to do some that way. And I am going to put some in the canning jar. But for the most part, I'd much rather dehydrate, I think, at this point in time with what we got going on. So yeah, just do what you think is best, but just do something. Um, you know, I would say try to put away as much as you can. I'm really sick of the fear tactics and different things like that. We should be putting away food and different things anyway. I mean, you go back all the way to biblical days. They saved up and stored up for times of famine. Okay. Everybody have their story about what is going on, what they think is going on, what they've heard from reputable sources. And we feed on things and we regurgitate according to our beliefs, our belief systems, how we feel, what we think. And at the end of the day, nobody knows. This is why so many people have their own personal opinions about what is going on right now. Acknowledge what's taking place. Do what you feel is best. But it never hurts, and it's never a bad time to put away food for your family. The only thing with dehydrating, it has to be rehydrated at some point. So the other thing is making sure you have a fresh water supply or a water source of some sort to be able to rehydrate your food and eat, versus your canning, which is going to it's preserved in liquids. So there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead, show you what I'll be doing to get these grapefruit preserved. And again, I'm going to dehydrate as well as can some, because these are some that were not quite ready. I've had these last year. They get really big, really sweet. The limb broke and she had to go ahead, harvest, and was so nice to share with me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to can some of those as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've got them in the sink, and I'm step number one, I am washing my grapefruit. And what I'm going to do is some of the ones that feels a little bit softer than others, not that they're overripe or anything, but they just, to me, seems like they're juicy and ready to, just really eat and enjoy. I'm going to can those. The ones that's a little bit firmer, I'm going to use to make my orange slice, dehydrated orange slices. And I'm going to be slicing them on the mandolin here. And so let me go ahead and get that done, and we'll move on to the next step. So I am done washing my grapefruit, and I just used a scrub pad, a brand new one, not one you've been washing dishes with. And you can put this aside for later use, and gently scrubbed with the water and baking soda solution that I had here in the sink. Now I'm going to go ahead, get ready for the separate the ones that I want to can versus the ones that I want to slice, okay, for dehydration. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut the ends off of the orange, I'm going to cut the ends off of the grapefruit. This isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but it needs to be sharpened, this knife. Alright, got that end. Gonna do this end. Okay, so, oh, it smells so good. Alright, and then I'm gonna move this out of the way. I'm going to use my mandolin here, and I'm going to go ahead and slice it. I have my settings for thick. Okay, and that's going to get them about like this. Make sure you can see that. Okay, about that thick. And I'm going to show you what they look like laid out on my racks. All right. Okay, so I've got them sliced, and I've went ahead and placed them onto my rack. They are going to be a little bit juicy. You can take a a dry paper towel or cotton cloth and kind of blot them if you like. But yeah, this is what I have going right now. I'm going to go ahead and finish getting everything sliced and laid on my racks, and I'll show you what that looks like when I get done. Okay, so I've got all of my trays filled. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they all are filled. I've got some that were thicker slices that was left at the very end of just not being able to make that last pass through the mandolin. So I kind of got them all on one tray, because the thing with dehydration, you want to make sure whatever you're dehydrating, that it's pretty much the same thickness, or even the fruit or the vegetable, it needs to be somewhat the same flesh as the other fruit and vegetable, if you understand where I'm coming from. Because if you don't, you're going to have some uneven dry times, or some stuff is going to cook faster than others, and so on and so forth. So with dehydration, you kind of have to go by the timing based on your particular dehydrator. And I'll let you guys know how long it took. They do come with booklets telling you how long approximately it should take, and you could always purchase you a guide. So I am going to go ahead and get this started. Alright, so I'm going to set it to 125. Okay, it just came on. And I'm going to start with at least 10 hours. And I'll check it to see how it's doing with mine. Ooh. Okay, let me go back here. With mine, there we go, in the time here, I usually just set it about 125 and hit that again, and it'll go off when it's done. So Alright, let's get this done. It was something I thought I wanted to say earlier, and I'm sure it'll come back to me, but this is where we're at right now. I'm going to show you right quick how I remove my peels for my zest. I just take my little gadget here, go round and round and round and round until I get it all off. It cuts close without getting a lot of the membrane in there. And that is it. I'll dry this out and I'll use it for whatever. This is a fruit that has not been treated with all sorts of chemicals, so I feel really good about eating using the peels. So this is the way that I actually go in and get the fruit out of the grapefruit. So you'll have it in pieces like this. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna just take this plate, since I've got that sitting there, and you're gonna first cut off each end like so, and then I'm gonna come around and cut the sides off. Now some people may not find this the best way to do it, but in order for me to go in and separate the pieces like I really want, this is the best way for me to get them off. Okay, so I did that. Now hold on. Okay, so inside here you're gonna have the little partitions the sectioning off each of the actual grapefruit. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut in there, and then I'm gonna cut. The goal is to try to cut between each one of those little membranes, and you're gonna have your slice. Now this I normally don't even have come out with it, but that's okay. So I go here, put it in my bowl here. So right now, okay, all right. So I usually cut here. And then I could take this off. See, and then there's a membrane. There's a membrane. You want to cut on this. So I am finally done getting my grapefruit all cut up, and I have got it ready to go into the jars. My jars have been washed and cleaned, and I have them over in hot water right now. I'm going to be removing them one by one, jarring up the grapefruit, and then I'm going to go ahead and put them over in the water bath. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is just putting my grapefruit over into the jar, and then I'll go back and add the amount of juice that I need, and that's it. So let me go ahead, and this one I've already got sitting in there with juice in it. So let me get that finished, and I'll show you what I've got going on. And yeah, you just take a little bit of the juice, pour it in there, and you see I've got a whole jar of juice that, as you are cutting these up, you're going to be surprised at the amount of juice that's going to come out of it. And you won't need it all. I'm going to leave about a 1-inch head space there, and you could take your spacer here to figure that out. If you have a spacer, it should have the measurements on it. Those little jagged edges, those are actually steps to tell you how far your spacing is. Okay, all right, so I'm going for 1 inch. I don't want to fill it all the way up. And let me see, I was trying to see if I could find the actual number on there for you. But anyway, just take a good look at it when you get it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So let me go ahead and finish getting my jars filled, and I'll show you what it's looking like. Oh, before I do that, once I get the jars filled, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to take my lids and I'm going to wipe the top of my lids with this white vinegar right here, and that will help make sure that you don't have, and wipe these rings. That way it would make sure that you don't have anything around this jar that's going to keep it from sealing. And of course you want to always make sure everything is very clean. Okay, so also remember, before you get happy and start putting your tops on, go ahead and debubble. Let the run you something down in there to make sure that there's no air sitting down in there. Okay. Alright, so I've got my lids and my rings down here in the pot. This little gadget right here is to make sure you don't burn your hands. It will stick right to one of those. You're going to take this out and you're going to put it on your jar. But before you do that, take your little paper towel. I'm going to dip it in this little vinegar here. Okay? Just a little bit. I might have got a little too happy there with it. And just wipe the rim of the jar. And I'm using one hand, y'all, so forgive me. And I'm going to finish wiping my rings, or my rims of my jar. This is a very, very crucial and important step, so please don't leave it out. And I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on. Some people try to dry theirs. I'm just going to put it on right there. I want to let go. And then I'm going to put my ring on, and I'm going to finger tighten my ring on here, okay? You don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on that. You don't need it. It'll seal itself. Alright, and I'm going to do that to the rest of my jars, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we are almost done. We're on the home stretch now. I think I'm gonna have enough for one more jar, and that's about how many jars I prepared. So go ahead and put some juice in there. Get my air out. Wipe my rim. lid. I don't want to come loose there. There you go. Put it on. My ring. And these are going to go into the water bath for about 20 minutes. Once it comes to a boil, then I will start my timer. And after 20 minutes, I will cut it off. And then let it sit there, cool down, so I'm not pulling them out too soon, especially with the weather being like it is now. You don't want to pull it out and it's cold inside your home and cause a crack or an explosion, which is, I've never had that to happen, even on the coldest day. But just, we always want to be safe with canning and anything that we're doing. So alright. I'm sitting there holding that. Alright. I absolutely love canning. This is okay. So we've gotten our jars sitting in our pot, and they are going to start boiling at any moment now, it looks. And once it does, I'll go ahead and set my timer for 20 minutes. And again, I will cut it off and let them just sit there for a while until the pot cools down before I take them out. And I'll show you what the end product looks like. So I've got me a quart-sized jar of grapefruit juice, and actually a little bit more than that I just didn't have enough room to pour in. And I'm going to dry out my peels for some zest or grapefruit powder. And I've got my grapefruit slices processed in there. They've been in there now for about 5 hours. So I think we are definitely winning with the grapefruit. Okay, not to mention those that are being canned right now. Okay, so I have removed my canning pot from the stove. My jars are looking good, and I am going to go ahead and set them on a towel and cover them tonight. And as they cool, they will begin to seal. And that's it. So let me go ahead and show you the end result. Alright, so that is it. I apologize for the lighting on this side of the kitchen. But there you have it, canned grapefruit pieces, or shall I say slices and pieces. I hope you give this a try. Anytime you can something acidic, it only takes about 20 minutes in a bath canner. And that is it. It takes a little bit of time to prep for canning, but it is so worth it in the end. Alright, so here we have it. Okay, so we are done with our preserving of grapefruit. I have some dehydrated, as you know, as well as I have some that is canned. Just a few left for us to eat on. And also, I'm going to take and slice some of those up and put them in the oven. It takes about 3 hours in the oven versus the time that I use in the dehydrator. That's a whole nother subject. But you can dehydrate these in the oven. If you do not have a dehydrator, do not feel like you cannot do this, because you can. Right now, I am storing some of these in my little jar here just for us to use. And I do have some oxygen absorbers that are on the way. I'm sorry I don't have them to show you right now because they are on order. So these are going to be most likely staying in the jar, and the rest will be going into vacuum sealed bags, okay, and possibly even into a Mylar bag after that. And you'll notice also on my canned grapefruit that I did not leave the rings on. If you leave rings on, sometimes you can get what you call a false seal, which means that you would think that the jar may be sealed and it's not, which you should be able to tell whether or not it's got a good seal by just touching the center of it. If that moves, goes up or down, you know that you did not get a good seal. If it is just firm and does nothing, then you're good. as far as your fruit, they should sound hard as a rock. You should be able to, yeah, just kind of take it and break it and, you know, break it right in half. Okay, you know, that's dry. All right. So you want to make sure your fruit and things are dry. You want to make sure when you're packing your dehydrated foods that you are putting oxygen absorbers in there to make sure that you are absorbing any other moisture that may be left. They need to be at least 95% dry. Okay, if not totally. So this is the end of our preserving of grapefruit. I do have some of the peels that I'm going to dehydrate as well. And I have some more videos coming on dehydration as well as canning. Again, just do something. If you cannot can, dehydrate. If you, you know, have what you need. Get things when it's off season. I was able to find 38 boxes of these lids, okay, and it's 12 in each one of these boxes. All right, and they are the regular size lids that will fit the ball jars. I'm not representing that company right there in any way, but I found those and I bought every one that I could possibly get, because the thing with the jars, you are not supposed to use these lids again. Once they are used and processed, taken through the hot water with that rubber seal inside, that's it. The rings, however, once you take those off, set them to the side, you could always use those again. So if you don't get anything else, pick you up some lids and, you know, try to get jars when you can. But if you are just not being, if you're not able to find these things, it's more than one way to skin a cat. It really is. And sometimes we just have to take a moment to learn how to do it. And well, that is it. I did not intend for this video to go as long as it did, but sometimes, you know, it takes a little time to get you through a process where you can actually understand and see what is going on. So until next time, I hope that you learned something. I hope that you give this a try. I will be using my my grapefruit slices in several different ways, teas, you know, potpourri, soap making, and so on and so forth. We have a few grapefruit here that we're gonna, like I said, eat, and the rest I am gonna put in the oven after I slice them up and let them dry like that. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, share, and we'll see you on the next one. One love.